for another half-loaded episode of Get a Load of This. I am Jared.
I am Ryan.
And we are...
And it feels empty.
It
feels
does.
a little bit...
We need some gangsta rap.
Yeah, we need someone to drop a beat. But I don't have those faculties. So anyway, that's my word of the week. I've used that beyond our faculties,
Earlier it was politicization.
Well, but that's really hard to say when you've had 7 beers.
It's kind of hard to say anyway.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Sober, it's difficult to say. What were we going to talk about this time? I don't know. Hold on.
I know what we were talking. You want me to say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
The moon landing.
Oh, that's right. We talked about it a little bit on the last one. Yeah. So we are on July the 16th, 1969. July 16th is also the birthday of my middle son.
Wow.
And he'll be 16 years old on July 16th, which makes it what they call it, like his platinum birthday or something, or silver, what do they call it, golden birthday? Something. When you turn whatever age you are turning on the, so like,
oh, right.
So like he's turning 16 on the 16th.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what day is your birthday on? Is it like the 20th or 9th? Okay. So when you turn 9, that was your golden birthday. You don't remember it.
No.
Yeah.
I thought that was like on the year, like in 2016, if you turn, no, that would only work.
No.
Yeah. So our oldest
when's his?
boys would have been born in 2000. So all of their
no. So his will be So yeah, TJ
every year is they turn whatever age on the year.
No. It has to be on the day of the month.
Right.
So like TJ's was he's born on the 26th of the month. So when he turns 26, that'll be his golden birthday. Chuck is the 16th. So when he turns 16, and O is also the 16th. So when he turns 16. So yeah. Anyway, that's the deal. So but also on July 16th, 1969, a great day in American history and world history and
allegedly
universal history, honestly. I mean,
right.
So if you've watched any of the documentaries, I didn't realize the impact that it had and the breadth that it had. But it wasn't just an American thing. It was an English and
global accomplishment.
Yeah. Well, the only people that didn't like it were the Chinese and the Russians. Everybody else was pretty cool with what we were doing. They weren't happy about it, but it was a big occasion, and really the world stood still while Neil Armstrong stood on the moon. There's some really good stuff out there. Check out the Smithsonian Network and Nat Geo, probably on Channel 9, I would imagine, or PBS, your local public broadcast.
A little background. So it was the Apollo missions. This was the 11th mission, right?
Right. I just did. Did you hear that? Sorry.
That's his all like, are you fucking kidding me? Of course it was the 11th mission.
Well, so
Apollo 11.
There was the Apollo, there was the Genesis, and there was another one before that that I can't recall. But there was all these missions that NASA, and it all started with JFK in 1961 making his declaration saying that we will put a man on the moon, and it was all Cold War related bullshit. But the fact that JFK said it, and the fact that he was JFK,
right.
and that every president beyond him, regardless of party, was like, yeah, we're fucking doing that. You're damn right. We're going
nationalism, right? So it was this national pride, regardless of party or anything.
So Johnson kept that dream alive and poured a bunch of money into the space program, and then Nixon came along and did the same thing, and it didn't stop. I mean, Nixon did it, and then Ford did it, and Carter did it, and Reagan obviously put a whole shitload of money into the space program. But it's a beautiful thing. Now, the reasons why we went though are, if you really think about it, kind of silly. It was all just a pissing contest.
Right.
There's really no benefit of putting a man on the moon. What's the benefit of putting a man on the moon?
Was there some discussion about why we need to do this exploration? Do we need to see if there's something there?
Reaching the bounds, right? Yeah. So whatever the next bound was, that was our goal. First bound was to put a man in orbit, just to put a man in orbit around the Earth. And the Russians did that first, and then we did it, and it was like, okay, that was cool. Now what? Now what's next? What was the next closest thing? Well, the fucking moon, So all right, let's go there, and that became the next boundary. So, and then nothing's really changed. I think that we just become a bit numb to it.
But it was this competitiveness of like,
Right.
They're the enemy. We need to do it for them. They're our rival, that kind of thing.
Well, and it's all changed.
It wasn't just, hey, we probably ought to go to the moon. It
was once the Cold War,
a challenge.
Cooled, warmed, whatever. Yeah. And then the the International Space Station became a thing, and it became this collaborative effort, a global effort to explore space. Mm-hmm. Everything changed, So now, we look at the Hubble Space Telescope. That's an international effort. I think, at least, you look at the Mars rovers, and
International Space Station.
Well, you're right.
It's in the name.
Yeah, everything now is. The NASA
there's a joint effort on a lot of it. I don't know about everything, but a lot of it. Yeah.
Right. So it's a whole different world now. So
sure.
And I think that's kind of, it's probably a good thing, but it's also kind of a bad thing because we've lost that national pride and like the competitive nature of, we want to put our flag on that block of cream cheese.
Participation trophies and all that.
Right. But the moon landing, so I wasn't born yet. But we've all heard about it. We've all heard, it's the equivalent of, where were you when the Challenger exploded? Where were you when Michael Jackson died? Where were you when 9/11 happened? Where were you when all these monumental things happened in our history? I didn't exist, but I think it's neat to watch these documentaries and realize how much of an impact it had on these people, and also to realize that what happened prior to Apollo 11, how many astronauts died, how many tragedies had occurred, how there was delays because of the tragedies, because of Gus Grissom and two other guys whose names escape me, but dying on the pad. Mm-hmm. On another note, the economic impact of what the space program meant. It's like, there's the state of Texas may not have been as successful as it has been if it weren't for NASA and the space program, because they employed a shitload of people down there.
Yeah, a lot of technology developed because of that.
Yeah.
Did we get like spray cheese out of it or something? I don't know.
I know we got Tang.
Yeah. Right.
But and I thought the Tang came out of the 80s, but actually it was earlier than that. It was like it was the 70s or late 60s that they were talking about Tang. And I don't think you can buy Tang anymore, which is a shame because that shit was delicious.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong. I have to look into that one. But
seems like there's no reason you wouldn't. There's still Kool-Aid and
right. What's wrong with powdered orange drink?
Right.
Maybe they just call it Sunny Delight, and they already pre-mix it for us.
It's a pretty niche flavor, and
but it's kind of like Sunny Delight, though, wasn't it? If I remember,
I feel like Sunny Delight always had that antifreeze taste to it. Like,
all right,
I
don't know about that, but
Tang was a little zestier to me. But
zestier than antifreeze?
Well, antifreeze has that like sweetness to it, like you want to drink it,
no,
but you shouldn't.
I don't know.
Right? But
so another little known fact. So when I was a little boy, I was born in 1975, and when I was little, my great uncle, he worked. He was a government contractor, much like a friend of mine, and he did a lot of procurement. I think I need to actually reach out to a cousin of mine to confirm a lot of stuff, because I don't have a lot of information about the guy, but. There was an actual, the city of St. Louis declared a day in his honor. The day that
Your uncle's honor?
Yeah. And I have the declaration, the proclamation hangs in my office behind the door, and it's really cool. And Mayor Vincent Shamel declared, I think it's July something. We're coming up, but it's not this July 12th in perpetuity. It's that July 12th in 1984 was his day, which is still cool though, and it's this big proclamation. It's really a pretty cool document. But he was a government contractor. That's all. But he was in charge of procurement on multiple programs. One of them being the Manhattan Project, which obviously was the development of the atomic bomb. And I know that he worked with McDonnell Douglas, before Boeing, obviously, and I know that he was involved with the space program, because the only reason I know this, and maybe I'm wrong, someone in my family might correct me, but he gave me not prototype, but like models, like that you would see on an Air Force colonel's desk, models of rocket ships that were taking off, and
nice.
and he gave them to me.
Toys, models.
They were cool. Yeah. They were cool, but I treated them like toys. I mean, these fucking things flew off a ship.
Yeah,
I did not treat them.
You like, God damn it.
So yeah, well, he knew, he knew what I was going to do with them, and unfortunately, I think my mother threw them away at some point. And I don't know where they're at. They're gone. I wish I could find them again, but they were really, really cool things. And he's gone. He died in 99, and I wish I could ask him, like, dude, what the, what did you do? What? I had no idea until after he was gone, all the things that he had a hand in, and but to have a hand in the development of the atomic bomb, that's pretty crazy stuff. He met Truman. Some people in the family say that he met Einstein. My father disagrees. Like, no, he met some other German guy that was also very famous. I can't remember his name.
Did you ever experience, or did he resentment for that, or animosity for him developing his massive?
No, I mean, I don't think anybody knew. He wasn't well known. He was a nobody.
Well, I just mean like among people who knew him. Like,
no, I mean, that out. I don't know. I mean, when he died, I was 24 years old, and I had no appreciation for what his life was, and.
Because I could see now in today's society, if you developed a massive weapon of destruction, people would probably be a little.
But look, I mean, the guys that flew the Enola Gay and dropped the bombs. I mean, those guys are heroes still to this. I mean, I think in most circles, and there's obviously some people that are thinking like, oh, they're the absolute enemy.
Unless you're from Nagasaki.
Well, unless you're from Hiroshima. Yeah,
hate to break it to you.
Yeah, but not a lot of those folks around anymore. But they ended the war. Look, one other thing that people don't realize is that, yes, it was horrible. It should not have come to that. But if it had not been for them dropping those bombs, how much other desperation would have occurred? How much other loss of life would we have seen if they had?
You ask, but yeah,
well, right. I mean, the war would have continued on for God knows how long, if not for.
There's some people that say they were already ready to surrender before we dropped those bombs.
Well, maybe.
But that's a whole other debate or argument. But
that's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
I think I love documentaries. I really do. And I think it kind of goes back to the last episode we were talking about. Read more, learn more, watch more shit. But also trust what you're watching too, because there's some documentaries out there that are fucked up too.
Or don't always trust what you're watching.
Well, question everything. Question everything, and But the stuff on the moon landing is neat, and
so what do you?
It was
think
a great
about
moment
that?
in our national and global history where everybody was pretty much on the same page. Everybody was feeling pretty good about being an Earthling.
How do you feel about the fact that they've kind of cut back on the space program and all that? We probably won't see something like that anytime soon.
No, well, I saw that Richard Branson's preparing to be one of the first civilians.
Privatizing it now.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing too. I'm pro-capitalism, and I think that why not? Why not let these billionaires throw some money at it? No matter what, I think when it comes to something like that, at least in our lifetime, there will always have to be some government involvement to clear, that type of activity. Yeah. I mean, you're leaving the bounds of this world.
Yeah,
you have to clear that through some government. I would hope. Maybe not. Who knows?
Explorers didn't.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
No, I think that it's neat that someone like Richard Branson's doing that, and maybe it's if it's Tesla sending a car into orbit, that's cool stuff. Yeah. The things that those guys are doing, the things that Elon Musk is doing with landing these rockets on a floating platform in the ocean, that's unbelievable stuff. That is,
and then launching again and doing.
That's crazy. I mean, and to think where we've come in 50 years when we're dropping these capsules, they're coming down in parachutes, damn near burning up every single time we're dropping them into the ocean and hoping that we can recover them.
And I'm telling you, once I'm ready to land on a floating pad in the middle of the ocean, I'm calling Elon Musk.
Yeah.
There's some value
He's the guy.
in that.
He's the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So were you one of the people, I'm sure you weren't, but who was kind of pissed at the billions that were being spent on the space program and like, what are we even doing this for? And
I never really thought about it until it became a thing.
Yeah.
I never. It's similar to most things government related, right? Nobody cares about it until somebody points a finger at it and says, like, we're spending a shitload of money on this, on the research of how snails run on a treadmill, I mean, or whatever it is. I mean, what was it? Shrimp on a treadmill. That's a real thing.
Really?
Google that. Google that shit. Shrimp on it. There's a YouTube video. I guarantee it. Government waste. It's a real thing. There was government dollars allocated to research shrimp on a treadmill. I'm not joking. It's real. So nobody cares about any of that stuff until someone points a finger at it. I think there's a lot of research done that we have no idea. I mean, look at Area 51. Yeah. Forget about aliens. Just think about the research that's going on in the stealth bomber and stealth program in general. How much money is being just pissed away. Mm-hmm. And if we don't know, then we don't care.
But there's some value to that, right?
Absolutely, there is. It's national defense.
As much as it might seem like a waste, when something gets discovered or a breakthrough in technology or whatever that would have maybe never happened or it would have taken 20 more years, there's some value there.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of
if people don't appreciate national security, then they should. I mean, revisionist history. There's a lot of movies and television programs about revisionist history. Like if the Nazis had won, if we hadn't dropped those bombs at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, what's the name of that TV show? It's on Amazon.
Man on the High Tower. Man in the High Tower.
Man in the High Castle. Something like that. Yeah. That's really interesting stuff. I mean, it's great television.
What if Japan and Germany won the war? Yep.
So when you start to question, should we be doing this research on stealth bombers from Area 51, or should we be doing the Manhattan Project? I'd say take a look at history. If we didn't, well, there wouldn't be any Jews left on this earth, most likely, because Hitler would have had his way. And hell, there might not be any Americans. I mean, we might have all been vaporized ourselves. And there'd be a whole new set of Americans that spoke German and Russian. And
this attitude or perspective now where every dollar spent has to be accounted for and spent on clearly needed things or whatever. That's overgeneralizing, but like there's no appreciation for potential or for research or for, it's like... Not with my dollar. If I'm not getting something directly out of it, I'm not paying taxes. That kind of thing.
On the right, there's that. On the left, it's completely the opposite. They're like, we want to make everybody happy. Yeah. We want everybody to have the
But that being said, I would say the right is one funding the defense program and all that.
Right.
The left is like, fuck all that.
Well, the right's happy to piss away money on defense and don't really need to see much to substantiate their dollars. Yeah. Which is a problem. Because that's why $1,000 toilet seats were a problem in the Air Force. I mean, those are real things that happened that because no one was watching over it. The other side of that coin is entitlement programs and welfare and these programs that people are taking advantage of now because nobody was watching the shop on that one either. Right. So it happens on both sides of it. It's all a matter of what
I'm not trying to get political with it.
But. But where do you lay your cards? But problem is that the government doesn't do a whole lot right. The government needs to be watched. Yeah. And unfortunately, until the past 15, 20 years, no one was really watching. I mean, they were, but they really weren't watching it. We were pissing away money all the way through the 80s. Some people were pissed about Star Wars and how much money Reagan spent on missile defense, but I think it was good. I think it was money well spent. If he hadn't, again, we'd probably be reporting to McHale. I was going to say,
I think there can be some real value in the government doing some shit we don't know about.
Yeah.
Some security of our nation.
There's some things we shouldn't know.
It's just better left unsaid, that kind of thing. But at the same time, then you can abuse that and you can do things against our nation that maybe they shouldn't be getting away with, that kind of thing. But
I wish I knew more about alien encounters.
That's a whole other episode.
Well, I've been listening to a lot of Rogan lately and older episodes and some newer stuff too. But And he talks a lot about that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, we really are crazy if we think for a second that we're alone. That's really an arrogant statement. I mean, if you have the weakest telescope known to man and you point it at the sky and look around and you still think like, there's no way anybody else is out there. Mm-hmm. Well, it's a really arrogant statement.
And that gets to, and I wanted to bring this up off the air and even on the last episode. I feel like so many things about our society, our viewpoints on things, whether it's aliens or politics or whatever, goes back to religion. And if you think that God created man in his image and all this stuff,
but there are a lot of people,
and there's nothing in there indicating that he created other life somewhere else, then of course you think we're the only ones. The world, the universe is centered around our world, and God sent his son here.
But there's a lot of people that
can still to Centauri.
Well, but there's a lot of people that can still look at the sky and agree with me and say that we're not alone, and still believe in a higher power. And I don't have any problem with that. I think that if that's hell, I can't explain it either. I don't have a better explanation for it. So if you look to the skies and you see galaxies out there and you think, well, there's no doubt in my mind that there is intelligent life in other galaxies and other planets. Mm-hmm. But you also think that the same God that created our heaven and earth created those. Well, hell, I can't refute that. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any evidence to say that that's wrong. I have a hard time believing it, but that's just my opinion. But I can't really provide you any evidence to say that you're crazy.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about that. Mm-hmm. But I think that's kind of the beauty of humanity is that, and I think that's what a lot of people need to embrace, is that it's okay not to know. It's okay not to have an answer. It's okay to question things.
But man, that's what makes us human is
to question things.
To
sure,
search for answers.
It's fine to search for. It's fine to do all those things, but it's also okay to say, yeah, fuck, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, because if the absolute is I have to have an answer to this, I have to settle on A or B or maybe C, whatever. Then, well, fuck, that's bad practice.
Especially to say, we don't have the answer, so it must be this.
Right,
that kind of thing.
Right.
Like, well,
it's okay.
Wait a minute.
So look, science is based on not being 100% sure on the answer. That's science. That's the principles of science. Like you're always questioning. You're always investigating further. You're always forming another hypothesis that you're going to then test. Which is why when they talk about settled science for climate and all these other things, it's all bullshit. Nothing's settled. Science is never settled. Right. And so talking about alien life, it's like, we don't know. It's okay not to know. Yeah. It's great to be curious and investigate and that, but I think that's why people like Richard Branson and Elon Musk and John Glenn and Neil Armstrong, that's why they are what they are. They're the nomads of the universe. We need people like that for eternity. As long as humanity exists, we need to have people that are willing to reach beyond the bounds.
So is there any scenario where you would sign up for the first mission to the faraway planet or system that you aren't coming back from?
Well, it depends on what the ship.
One-way trip.
What's the ship look like? I mean,
it's like a 72 Impala.
Yeah. It's like Airplane 2. You've seen Airplane 2?
Probably.
Yeah. Well, that's Airplane, but they're going to space, and they end up landing on Mars. I think it was Mars. William Shatner's in it. It's great. It's a great movie. It's actually great. Not. It's a horrible movie, but it's great for an airplane movie.
Yeah.
So no, I think if I'm gonna, it's like what's it called? What's the movie with Bruce Willis when they go to blow up the asteroid?
Armageddon. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah,
it's a tearjerker.
Yeah, sure. Well, you'd cry at everything, so that's the way it goes.
It's Endgame.
So, So yeah, if I'm at the right stage in my life, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I got a good 20 left, but I can go out in a blaze of glory. I'll go do that. But if I'm a 25-year-old Ryan, then I'm fucking hang here for a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe 50, 55-year-old. And if it's a nice ship, because it's a long trip wherever the fuck you're going. If you're going to Mars, that's a long ride. I don't want to be in a cramp. I don't want to be in a Geo Metro.
Right.
For like,
what's that movie with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence where
they
wake up on the ship?
That's the ship right
huge,
there. Yeah. Well, especially if I can stumble upon a Jennifer Lawrence and wake her ass up, and to make her realize that it's up to us to recreate humanity. That'd be all right,
You'll take one for the team.
Yeah, I would, but she got to kind of be a pain in the ass in that movie. She was.
Well,
was it him?
She did realize that he basically fucked her over.
True, but
that's kind of when she became a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I guess so.
That he ruined her life.
I gotta watch that movie. Passengers. That's the name of it. Passengers. Yeah. It's a good movie.
It's good,
but it elicits a lot of questions. Another one that Contact with.
I love Contact.
That's a great movie. It makes you ask questions like. Fuck, that's some pretty profound shit that's happening in that movie.
That's cool.
Matthew McConaughey's in that too.
Yeah.
There's just there's a lot. It's okay to say you don't know, and to keep asking questions, and don't be ashamed that a movie, a silly Hollywood movie, makes you ask questions. Don't be ashamed of that.
Right.
It's like fuck, anything can make you ask. Explorers, 1985, can make you
ask some questions.
Hell yeah. Well,
there's great.
Pretty profound statements in that too. That the aliens in that movie were afraid to make contact with us because they had seen all the war, and so it was just these teenage.
That's getting deep.
Yeah, these teenage aliens they stole their dad's spaceship to reach out to these young Earthlings, and they were all about pop culture. They didn't care about the war.
It started to get weird.
Well, yeah, but it's really profound statements there that maybe that's why no other planets have made contact with us, because they see what we do to ourselves. They see how violent we are with our own.
It's
people.
A lot like. Have you seen The Abyss?
I have not. I know the movie.
It's really good.
Yeah, I've never watched it though.
So it's great. I think it was like 1988, 89,
yeah,
something
late
like
80s,
that. Similar premise though, but instead of in space, it's under the ocean. And I guess I shouldn't.
Damn it! Now I gotta watch it.
Spoiler alert! But there's a similar.
It's a 30-year-old movie. I should have watched it by now. It's
actually really good. It's got good, Ed Harris.
Yeah.
And I forget her name.
I'm gonna watch it tonight while I eat some nachos.
It's awesome.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, Ryan.
I missed dinner.
He foregoed.
Sure. I'm hungry. Let's just leave it at that.
Yep.
I missed supper.
Yeah. Well, it's probably time.
Why do some people call it supper? Some people call it dinner. What do you call it? You call it dinner?
So, no. When I was growing up, I would always call it supper, but my grandparents called it dinner.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is dinner? To me, supper was the evening
meal.
They were
the same thing.
Right?
Yeah.
So dinner to me was like earlier. If you were going to have like a 2:00 meal or 3:00 or something, that might be a dinner. But supper was like the 6:00 meal, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, apparently it's interchangeable, I guess.
Well, I always thought so too. But when I go down to the Boot Heel, Missouri, where my grandma's family's from, that we had 4 fucking meals down there.
Whoa.
Yeah, we had breakfast, lunch, supper, and dinner.
Oh, okay.
And it was like a mid-afternoon was supper, and then there was a dinner. As far as maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm reversing it. Maybe they did. My grandparents would say supper. And
I could be wrong. I could misremember that altogether too. But from what I recall, it was like fuck, it's time to eat again. It's like, this is great.
Right.
I get 4 meals down here. I just had peanut butter and jelly like 2 hours ago. This is awesome. Now I get turkey. Holy shit! It was
probably good for your body. Like you didn't eat as much.
Well, I mean, look, bodybuilders do it. Yeah,
right.
Small meals all throughout the day.
Less meals, more of them. Yeah. Now we just wolf down 2 meals a day.
Yeah, I gorge myself one time a day. Yeah,
but it tastes so good.
It does. It's hard. But then there's also arguments that say that we're only supposed to eat. We're only supposed to gorge and then fast. I had a doctor that was he was a family practitioner, but he also had a minor in whatever it was, like Paleolithic medicine or some shit like that, something fucked up.
Right.
But he's like, look, cavemen, we are meant to go kill, gorge, eat as much as we can, and then be prepared to fast.
Yeah.
For days until our next kill.
I feel like that's more survival rather than like
that was our only choice then. That was if you go back to Paleolithic man.
But they only lived to be like 32.
True.
Tops.
Right. So
I'm not sure that's the model we should shoot for. Like,
well,
let's gorge on a meal and wait a week.
There's another argument that can be made that maybe we should all only live to be 32 because right now the world's overpopulated.
Well, that's true too.
And some of us need to fucking die.
I make that case all the time.
That you need to die?
Not that I need to die. It's like
it's never
some
you.
People need to die. There's too many people. That's the case.
Yeah, there's too many fucking people.
Some of you fuckers later need to die. Not me. Go.
Not me. Not my friends.
People that are contributing podcasts and things that, right. They can stay.
Creators.
They can get on the lifeboat.
Yeah. But if you're just sitting there eating Cheetos and beating off to shitty TV.
If you're just listening to a shitty podcast.
Right. No, but then we want you to stay, especially if it's this shitty podcast. Yeah. Well, this isn't shitty.
No, this is awesome.
High quality. High-end.
All right. Well, that's probably good for a half-loaded episode. We talked a little bit about the space program, the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11.
Yeah, the lunar landing.
Not 13.
Let's call it the lunar landing. Yeah. That was a game changer. Yeah.
It was.
And 50 years. That's crazy.
It is.
And it's also crazy to realize that it wasn't that far, but long before I was born. It was like.
That's how old you are.
I am old. It's like, everything comes into perspective. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So let us know what you think about the Apollo 11 mission.
Was it a hoax?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't touch on
Why
that
is
much.
the flag not moving?
We really should have gone there. We didn't. Yeah. I paid my respects to you by not trashing your memory of...
I've heard all the arguments as to why it's fake, and look.
Yeah.
Look, what do I know? I
mean, it definitely could be.
I'll believe anything for a minute. But no, I love those documentaries too, to watch people try to tear apart that stuff and show it could have easily been done on a Hollywood soundstage. The Mythbusters did that.
Did they?
Yeah, they tested the whole theory, and I believe it was busted. But
I'm pretty sure that's the most scientific research you can do is Mythbusters.
Yeah, right? Yeah. If the Mythbusters did it, then it's settled science. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Settled science.
Yeah,
those are oxymoron. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, we appreciate you listening to our first season 3 half-loaded episode.
Yeah, make sure you check us out on the social stuff at Load This Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Send us an email, loadthispodcast@gmail.com, and YouTube. Get a load of this podcast on YouTube. Unfortunately, there's no video for this one.
We do have some listeners who just listen on YouTube because they don't have a podcast app or whatever. They don't have their phone at work.
About a year ago, we had a deep conversation off air about this. Like, do people just listen on YouTube?
I do.
But you said at the time nobody does.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
I mean,
because YouTube discouraged it. They didn't want you to. Yeah.
Yeah. Or among the podcast community, it's considered bad form to just post audio.
Fuck those guys. They don't know what they're doing. If they knew anything about podcasting, they'd be modeling shit after us.
Right. We're on our 3rd season, motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's right. How many episodes is this? 90? Something.
All right. Well, once again, thanks for listening. As usual, I'm Jared.
I am Ryan.
And get a load of this.
Yep.
We are recording. And I went again.
Yeah. You do it a lot.
I do that. I know. I've done it since I was a kid. I've had people call me out on it.
But you gave me shit whenever we first started this about me tisking like that. I've never really said anything. I mean, hey, look, you're the one that edited it.
You've never said anything.
I don't think I have. Have I?
About me doing it?
About you tisking?
No.
Yeah.
You've never called me out on it.
No, until now.
It's never necessary to call me out on it.
Well,
it's still not necessary.
Whatever. But you gave me shit about
I do it a lot
when we started
during recording. I feel like I
don't know. You would know more than
pretty
me.
On top of it. I don't take it out too much, but
yeah. But I know I do it. I mean, it's kind of a natural transition.
It means something. It has meaning. Like when you go.
You think?
It's like I don't agree with what you just said.
Really?
Come on.
Is that what it means whenever you do that?
So.
Jesus, that just changed everything.
Please. Bitch, please.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Well, I need to analyze what all of my ticks.
Right.
We're gonna call that a tick.
Yeah, it's an eye roll.
Yeah.
All right. I probably need to. Well, I
don't know how good this Bud Light is. It's been around the block. I'm almost out of beer.
It's a shame.
Yeah. That's all right. See, that's horrible. Look at that fucking like a limp dick. Fuck that. I'll just drink faster. Oh, I got this.
There's a bottle koozie.
Well,
right there.
But see, this feels like I got a condom on.
Well, do you want it loose or do you want it tight?
No, the perfect medium.
That's perfect. Look at that. Zips it right up there.
I'm protected. See, I like the cool, fashionable beer.
Textured
so
for
like,
her pleasure.
Yeah, I like it that way. Like
that's pretty
hey, man,
sexy.
I'm laid back.
Right?
I'm fucking feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
I got my bottle koozie, but I also want to see the bottle a little bit. That's
right. This is
once you take a swig or two, it's already out of that
it's gonna be cool down.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Here we go.
The what's the fucking thing? Listen, the chewing and shit.
The ASMR. Or something?
Yeah,
right. We'll put it on there.
No, but there's been a couple of videos that I've seen on Instagram. And I guess does it all fall in the same category when they're cutting soap? Have you seen them cutting soap?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you should
cutting soap.
Yeah. So what they do is they like So they hash it. They like exit hash soap, and then but they leave it all intact. Okay. And then they take a big knife or a razor and they cut it off, and it all falls.
Just like when they're making soap,
no. They take a perfectly fine bar of soap,
like Zest, Dial,
and they
2000,
and they cut it all up,
okay.
Why? It's satisfying to the morons out there in the world.
Okay.
And it is. I mean, look, I've watched it. It is somewhat satisfying. But I think that's the genesis of the ASMR is like, it's just what is satisfying. So some people think that the sound of like, if you're mixing macaroni and cheese in a bowl, right? Right. That's a horrible sound. That
right.
is a horrible sound. So a lot of people think that is, but a lot of people love that sound.
Right. Yeah.
And it actually makes them salivate because they all they can imagine
My
is
wife,
mac and cheese.
When she and her sisters were kids, they used to think that sounded like
sex?
The sound of people making, or like French kissing on a soap opera or something. So
all right, fair enough.
Mac and cheese, they would like giggle at the sound of stirring mac and cheese, like they're kissing.
Boy, they really need to get out more, don't they?
I know, right. Ryan says that sounds like they're banging.
Yeah, well, it depends on the girl, but
Jesus. Thought we were going a little classier this season.
Hey, it's all, whatever. All right, fuck it. Kick this bitch off.
Yeah, all right. We are back. Ryan just talked through my intro.
Sorry. Did you hear that?
There's some.
Sound like someone fell.
Oh, I think it was the dishwasher.
Oh, okay. You want to start over?
Yeah,
we are back.
Should.
Go ahead. Let's start 1, 2.